get to a couple of these mock drafts, and Patrick, you also pulled some audio of Mel Kiper talking about Xavier Worthy and his draft prospects. But Mel Kiper's latest mock draft, which came out about a week ago, so it's still actually less than a week ago. I got it here as a couple of days ago. But Mel Kiper's latest mock draft, he's got Byron Murphy as the first Longhorn off the board, going 19th to the Rams, which makes a lot of sense because the Rams obviously lost Aaron Donald when he retired. He's got Xavier Worthy going to the Bucks at 26. I'll admit I haven't seen that yet. That's the first time I've seen and maybe Xavier Worthy or AD Mitchell going to the Bucks at 26. So maybe he's hearing something there. And he's got AD Mitchell going 32nd overall to the Kansas City Chiefs with the last pick in the first round. I will say this, though. There's been a lot of buzz now because of the Stephon Diggs trade, which I said we talked a lot about it in the first hour. We'll get back to that conversation. But because of where the Bills are, and I think it's my man Matt Miller who brought this up, because of where the Bills are drafting at 28, the receivers that they're going to be considering, because everybody believes they're going to draft the receiver now because they traded Stephon Diggs, they're going to draft the receiver
and lost Gabe Davis in free agency. Thank you. So it seems to be a foregone conclusion. They're going receiver in the first round. They could surprise people, but everybody believes that if they're going receiver, the receivers that they're going to be considering at that time that will still be available. And this is what Matt Miller said in NFL Draft Scout. He says wide receiver names to know in Buffalo: Brian Thomas Jr., Adonai Mitchell, Xavier Worthy, Ladd McConkey, Xavier Legette, who also could be available at that time. And then he also goes on to say Thomas likely off the board at 28 overall, which brings it to 4 receivers, and 2 of those are Texas Longhorns. So there is also a really good chance that the Buffalo Bills are looking at 2 of the Texas receivers, or those 2 Texas receivers at that spot at 28. So that's the sweet spot for Texas, is right around that 28 spot. I guess 26 too, if you're looking at where Mel Kiper is mocking the Longhorns, mocking Xavier Worthy to the Bucks at 26, and then even all the way to 32 with the Kansas City Chiefs, who also are in the market for a receiver. Those are good places to land because you got really good franchise quarterbacks in those spots. I don't know if Baker's considered a franchise quarterback, but he's coming off his best year. So good places for those guys to land. But I think that's going to be the sweet spot for him based on the latest mocks, and then kind of based on now the latest blockbuster news and the domino effect of that Stephon Diggs trade. It is. And I will say, I'll just throw in this tidbit that I think Buffalo, if they wanted to find a really good fit for a Buffalo team, then I would at least look at Jordan Whittington as a guy who could get really cheap, maybe undrafted, maybe late round, but also is, when we say the best blocking wide receiver in the draft, for a guy who likes to run the ball, and Josh Allen, maybe someone who can, can get out on the outside and be a little outlet for you. And if Josh Allen runs good block, just say I'd look at him. If I was Buffalo, I'd look at him. If I was Baltimore, if I had a mobile quarterback, I would look at Jordan Whittington. Let me put it that way. I would say, let me go get a guy who I feel can help protect my quarterback, even when I'm not throwing to him. And for Buffalo now, when you don't have a lot of wide receivers, if you have room in that wide receiver room, then maybe I at least take a look at him for a late round pick or an undrafted free agent. I would at least take a look. But yeah, you're seeing more and more, even guys that I've seen. We'll play the clip of Mel Kiper, but Field Yates was also on that clip, and he was saying he didn't have Xavier Worthy as high. And in his latest mock draft, he has Xavier Worthy going to Buffalo. So he even has Xavier Worthy going in the first round and going in that sweet spot of what you're talking about. And that's from a guy who says he did not have Xavier Worthy as high on his big board. So I think more and more people are getting on the bandwagon that they're seeing that teams are going to look at wide receiver. They're probably hearing more and more teams talking about going wide receiver in that first round, that people want to get them. They feel that there's other teams that are looking for that position right now. So you want to get it in the first round. Somebody you thought maybe you'd be able to get in the second round, you may just go ahead and go for in the first. And that would be good news for Texas, because that's how you get both your guys drafted and have 3 first-round picks.
Yeah, you're right. That Field Yates mock draft, a 2-round, has Xavier Worthy going to Buffalo at 28, AD Mitchell going to the Chargers.
Yes, in a trade where
23 is a trade. Yes,
the Chargers trade out of that 5 spots, and then they get down
They get down. They get what the Texans pick would have been, because Minnesota trades up to the 5s.
And that makes sense, right? They traded Keenan Allen, so they no longer have Keenan Allen. Mike Williams is gone there.
Yeah.
They have Quentin Johnston, who I'm not saying he's a bust, but he was an underwhelming rookie for them. And that's kind of where their wide receiving core starts, building around Quentin Johnston. I can see them deciding, hey, we made a mistake with him. Let's go get us what we think is maybe the potential and upside to be a number 1 wide receiver.